Welcome back to my channel. I am very excited because the holiday season is here. In this video, I'm sharing 5 Christmas gift ideas that you can make with your Cricut machine. Here are some of the blanks that I'll be using for this video. I'll have all the links from the video down in my description box. So let's get into it. For my first project, I'm going to start off with this fillable ornament that I found at the Target Bullseye section. There was a couple different ones to choose from. I'm going to add vinyl on the outside. Then I'm going to put a gift card and candy inside for my kids' teachers this year. These were $3 each. I'm going to grab my vinyl. I'm using Oracal 651. This is permanent vinyl, and I decided to go with white. I'm in Cricut Design Space. I've already created these, but I want to show you how I did this really quickly. I'll grab a font. The font that I chose for this is a favorite of mine for Christmas time. It's called Christmas Beautiful. You can add some extra glyphs in here too, which is really cool. I didn't do that for this project. I'm just making my daughter's preschool teachers ones for now. I'll type in Miss Cindy. I'm going to grab another font. I want Miss Cindy to be a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to do these separately. I will type in how sweet it is to be taught by you. Oh gosh. For Miss Cindy, I'm going to make it bigger. I want the line space to be closer together. To do that, I'll click on Edit. Then I'll go to Line Space, and I'm just going to bring it together a little bit. Next, I'll highlight on both of these. You can see both layers are selected. I'll go to Align Center Horizontally. I might bring Miss Cindy a little bit closer. Then I'm going to attach all of this together. You can keep it black. I changed it to white since I just get into the habit of changing it to the vinyl color. Now for my sizing, I like to take a measuring tape to kind of figure out what size to make this, and I decided on 3 inches for the width. Most of the time I go off of the width. Okay, that's how I did that. Now I'll click on the Make button. For my cut setting, I chose the Premium Vinyl Permanent Glossy, but I should have selected more for the pressure. You'll see in just a second, it was a little bit hard to weed. I'm just using scrap vinyl, which is so nice to use up for projects like these. You can use any Cricut machine for this as well, which is very nice. Since this is white, it's a little harder to see, so I'm using my lighted weeding tool. Someone commented that they used this on one of my YouTube videos, and I'm so glad they did because I love it. It's so great. I did forget to turn it on here though. As I tried to weed the excess vinyl, it was picking up the letters. So here is a hack that I love to use. I go in with the pen tool and I just pick up corners of the letters and the inside of the letters. This helps kind of release those letters from that vinyl piece I'm trying to weed, so it doesn't pick up with it as easily. I also like to take scissors and cut away some of that vinyl I've already weeded. I'm following that same process here. It still takes some patience, but it definitely is easier. I noticed I lost the letter E. I had kept that scrap vinyl and didn't see it in there, so I looked on my sleeve but found it on my hand. I'm sure this has happened to all of us. I'm just happy that I didn't have to cut out another tiny E. I'm going to remove the tags and all the packaging. This is the fun part, adding the vinyl. Last year I made a mini book ornament with all the books I read that year. You need fillable ornaments for that project, so these would be so perfect for that as well. I decided to use my tumbler cradle for this. I just love that it gives me an extra hand. I like to spray these with rubbing alcohol first. This will remove any dirt or dust. That way the vinyl will actually stick better to the ornament and not be on top of that dust. I'm using Caesar transfer tape. This is my all-time favorite. Once I started using it, I am not switching to anything else. I think I forgot to mention, but I'll put all the links down in my description box. This is the best hack for ornaments. When adding vinyl to a round surface, it can be difficult to lay the vinyl flat. What you can do is add slits in the transfer tape. Here I'm adding slits between each of the wording. I'll center this, then I'll set it down where the middle's kind of pressed onto the ornament. Then I'll do each section. I'll start in the center and I'll press my way outward. Sometimes I'll have to add another slit, and if the transfer tape is kind of bended over, as you can see there, that's fine as long as the vinyl is nice and flat on the ornament. Another thing that's helpful if you're doing those ball round ornaments is to make your design a little bit smaller if you're struggling. I've found that's helped a ton. When I remove the transfer tape, I do this slowly just to make sure none of the vinyl picks up. I'll follow the exact same process for this next one. I have some of my Christmas decorations out in my craft room. I have not put Christmas decorations up in the rest of the house, but I am so ready. Since it's been pitch black out at 5 p.m., I just need some extra lighting, so I think I'm going to get everything out this weekend. This is always a heated topic on the internet when you're getting your Christmas stuff out, but I feel like you should just do it whenever you want and whenever you feel like is the right time. These are just too cute. Now let's fill them up, and I'm going to add some ribbon as well. I found this teacher-themed ribbon on Amazon, and I thought it would be so fun. Since I'm doing this for my daughter's preschool teachers, I chose the ABC and 1231. The string that comes with it already is really nice. A lot of times I don't like what comes with these, so you can keep that if you want to as well. I thought about tying a bow around the little neck part of it, but I decided against that and to make it into the ornament string. I'm going to use this ribbon for the elementary school teachers. Now I can add the Target gift card and candy. Here's the final look at these. I always love looking for something to put gift cards in, and these fillable ornaments were perfect for it. My next gift idea, I found these adorable kids' Christmas aprons at Target. These were only $5, and they have the perfect spot to personalize with a name. These would make great gifts for your daughter, niece, granddaughter, just so fun. They had a couple other designs as well. The gingerbread one would be perfect for boys also. I'm measuring this, then I'll create a guide in Cricut Design Space to figure out my sizing. I'm making this for my 3-year-old, but it has a Velcro strap, so it would fit a variety of different kid ages. When choosing what vinyl color to use, I like to choose a color that's already in the design. I decided on pink, and I'm using Caesar EasyWeed HTV. This is kind of new how I'm doing my Cricut Design Space tutorials, but I have it already done, and I'm just going to go in and show you how I did this. I'm going to do my guide first. The size that I measured was 8 by 5. For my font, I'm using Christmas Advent. I just typed in my daughter's name. And for choosing the size, what I like to do for this is I like to just see how it looks. I don't specifically go off of like 3 inches, 4 inches. I just kind of like to see how it's looking. For this, I did about 5 inches for the width. I think 4.5, 5 inches is good. For my cut setting, I'm using Everyday Iron-On and it will automatically mirror my design. My heat transfer vinyl is shiny side down. I load it into the machine and it will cut out the name. I'll weed this out. I find that Caesar Easy Weed just weeds so smoothly. One tip though, don't use the heat transfer setting, use the iron-on. For some reason, the iron-on is the only one that works for me. I'm going to use my Easy Press Mini for this. I just love using it for projects like these. It makes it quick and easy. I set it to the medium setting, then I let it heat up. Then I preheat the design. This will remove moisture so the vinyl will adhere better. Also, I love that it takes out the wrinkles. Then I can just line up my design. I place a Teflon sheet on top. I ran my Mini over this for 25 seconds. I like to use Cricut's heat guide online. It makes it really easy to figure out what setting and time to use. I forgot to mention, but this apron is made out of 100% polyester. This is a warm peel and the vinyl adhered really well. Cricut does recommend turning it over and just heating it on the back for about 15 seconds. I sometimes skip this step, but it's supposed to help the vinyl adhere even better, so I think it's good to do. You are supposed to remove the carrier sheet after, and I forgot and did it before. How adorable is this? It's such a quick and easy project, which you know we all need around the holidays. My next project, I'll be adding vinyl to a glass mug. I know a lot of people have too many coffee mugs and don't necessarily want it as gifts, but when I saw this clear one, I just thought it was really pretty. I always get my mugs out for each holiday. They look so fun for decoration, and I just really enjoy drinking my coffee out of them, so I think this will be fun. I purchased this from Target. I'll be using Tech Wrap's bubble-free mirror chrome vinyl. This is just beautiful, and it helps with those bubbles on glass, which is a nice bonus. I'm in Cricut Design Space and I'm going to upload the SVG I'm using. To figure out the design for this mug, I figured out how tall it was. The mug is 3.75 inches, so I created this guide and then I just made sure this fit inside. I made it stretch from the very top to bottom. You can make it a little bit smaller if you want to. Here's the original design. As you can see, I made a few changes. This SVG has a ton of little cuts. That will make it more difficult to cut and weed. So what you can do in this situation is contour some of those out of there. It makes it a lot easier. I'm going to hit ungroup and I'll just show you an example with the bow. I clicked on part of the bow layer. I hit contour. I selected all show all contours and hit apply. As you can see, it got rid of those little cut pieces. In the tree, I did this as well. I just hit contour, and what's nice, I think this is new, it'll show up green wherever you're taking it out, so it makes it a little easier. So I did that one, and actually it's black and then shows up green. You have to have it just over it just right. Or you can go in and do it in here. I'm trying to get out all these little dashes. I'm not going to do all of them right now, but another thing that I did was I made these stars bigger. Look how tiny these are. I also got rid of the little dot. Now, one thing I'll show you about this one is it made some weird cuts in the Christmas tree. So I ended up hitting the contour button and hiding all of them. And that's how I ended up cutting it. So I'll show you that when I go over to the Cricut machine. This vinyl has a clear protective sheet on top. When vinyls have that, I like to cut them down to the size that I need. I usually cut just a little bit extra space to make sure that the Cricut will have the cuts fully on the vinyl, if that makes sense. I was just amazed at how well this weeded. Look how tiny those pieces are, and it weeded great. Here's where that weird cut line is. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if it had to do with the contouring, but I decided to weed out the presents first. I'm using my pen tool, which I always recommend. I've heard some people say they struggle with it, and one thing I've thought about with that is use a self-healing mat. It gives something for the pen to kind of push into and helps release that vinyl. After all that contouring, I ended up having to get rid of the tree. I just took my tree vinyl and pressed it up against the little pieces I didn't want. It just stuck to it and made it easy to get off. I cut out the tree again. Then I grabbed transfer paper. I made it the size of my full design. To line up the Christmas tree easier, I took that transfer paper and I centered it over the Christmas tree. Then with it on the transfer tape, I made sure it was all lined up on my original design. Since I made the transfer tape the size of my design, now I can press the whole thing down and it's ready to go. Now I'm ready to add this to my glass cup. If you don't have the bubble-free vinyl, which most isn't, you can use the felt side of your squeegee to press it onto the glass, and I find that significantly reduces bubbles in your vinyl. How gorgeous is this? You could add in hot chocolate packets, gift cards, candy, whatever you want inside of the mug as well. What's fun about this is you can personalize it with whatever that person is into and choose that design. My next gift idea is acrylic bookmarks. When putting this video together, I wanted to think of things that people would actually use, and I use my Cricut acrylic bookmarks all the time. These come in a 30-pack from Amazon, and it's like $9. When I first opened them, I thought they looked a little thin and flimsy, but I ended up loving them, and I'll show you why at the end. Here's the vinyl colors I'll be using. For Christmas, I usually like the traditional colors, but for a bookmark, I think these will be fun. I'm back in Cricut Design Space. I am just going to duplicate my guide. This is 1.25 inches for the width, and it's 4.69 for the height. It's actually supposed to be 4.75, so I don't know how I got a little off there, but it's close enough. I'm uploading my design. This is one of those Libby glass can designs, and I thought it was cute, so what I'm going to do is just grab a few pieces from it. I'll hit ungroup. I am going to take this and I will hit the contour button. I'm going to hide all contours, then bring some of these pieces back in. Okay, we have this piece. Now I'm going to take the next one. I'll hit contour. This one's a little easier. Once again, I'll hit hide all contours. Now that I have those, I centered these. Then I grouped them together. I just lined it up, just kind of however I thought it looked cute. This isn't going to be lined up exactly the same, but I'm just kind of giving you an idea of how I put this together. Next, I attach all the light colors together. So I'll show you an example with this. Those are all attached. Then I hit Shift on my keyboard and select all of these. I'll select attach. You can see in the layers panel, I have all the gingerbread outline attached. I have all the gingerbread men, and then I have all the dark pink colors are attached and the light pink. So basically I just went in and attached all the same colors since it'll be on the same vinyl sheet. It'll separate it all onto different mats, as you can see. This time I selected more for my pressure setting. A couple of these have the clear protective sheet, so I'm just cutting those down to size. I'll follow the prompts in Cricut Design Space, showing me what colors it's going to cut next. This texture vinyl from Tech Rep Craft is so pretty and such a unique vinyl. Now I'm ready to weed the vinyl. If you want to save some of it, as you can see there's a big gap, there's a way to do that and I'll show you in a second. This one was so difficult to weed. I just could not get those buttons right, and it probably doesn't help that it's the textured vinyl. I decided to weed everything, then add those buttons back in. I'm adding the little outline to the gingerbread man first. I had to go back in and add the little smiley face and eyes. Those dots to the eyes were so tiny. It took a ton of patience, and then I still had 3 others to do. I probably wouldn't recommend this design for bookmarks this small, but you could always give it a try. I will just say it takes a lot of patience. I got it all added. Now I can weed and layer my candy canes. One thing that's nice that you can do instead of this is UV DTF transfers. Those are awesome to work with. You don't have to deal with all the layering, weeding, cutting, all of that. I have all my pieces. Now I can add it to the bookmark. I decided to add the gingerbread first. My camera was blurry, so I'll show you on my phone. The way that I added this, there ended up being bubbles, so I'm really sad about that. Normally, I would take the felt edge of my scraper and slowly add the whole thing, and I didn't do it this time. I'll add the rest of the vinyl pieces. There was a little crease in this gingerbread, so I ended up taking him off, trying to straighten him out a little and placed him back on. Here's where you can add that vinyl back onto the backing so you can use it as scrap paper and you don't have to throw it away. Despite the bubbles, this is so stinking cute. That third one, I was able to press out a few of those bubbles. I also know you can take a pen tool and poke them. I've never had a ton of luck with that, but it can help a little bit. Chiffon ribbon is my favorite for adding to acrylic bookmarks. I try to pick a color that matches the design that I used. Here I want to compare the thickness of the bookmark. I feel like the quality seems better in this thicker one. But honestly, for bookmarks, I think the thinner one will be better. I even like that it's more bendable. The other one doesn't bend at all. Here's the difference inside a book, and I just like that the thinner one just fits better in the book. What do you guys think? I always love to know in the comments. If you have a family member or friend that loves reading, these are just the perfect gift because you can personalize them however you like and they just turn out beautiful and you know that they will use them all the time. My last video is not a gift for someone, but it's gift wrapping. I'm going to have the Cricut machine draw on craft paper that I purchased from Walmart. Then I'll use that to wrap presents. I'm so excited to try this because it's something new for me. I'll be using the Cricut Venture for it, which is why I have this huge mat. This project would work the best on the Cricut Venture. You could try it on one of the regular machines. It just would have to go with smaller gifts. I have the paper on the mat. Now I'll go over to Cricut Design Space. I've already created this, but I have a guide. The max the Cricut Venture can cut is 24 by 28 inches. I ended up doing a square that's 24 inches because my design was a square. I just found that to be easier. I'll pull up the image I'm using. I found this on Creative Fabrica, I think. What I did with this is I hit ungroup. I deleted the white background. Then I went up to basic cut and I changed it to a pen. I selected this square. I'm using the Cricut Venture, which is the marker 2.5 mm, and I'm using green. So then what I did over here was just make this fit inside of the square. I highlighted over both and hit align center, just a tiny bit smaller. The last thing I need to do is attach this. It's only grouped together, so I'll hit attach. Then I'll click the make button. The Cricut Venture does the opposite of the other Cricut machines. It actually starts at the bottom for cuts and drawing instead of the top left. Here's the markers I'm using. These are only compatible with the Cricut Venture. These are permanent markers, which I like. I popped that little piece out of clamp A, then set the marker inside. Design Space is really good about showing what you need set up on the Cricut Venture. I was intimidated when I first got the Venture because it looks so different than all the other Cricut machines, but it is so user-friendly. That's one thing I'll say about Cricut is they just know what they're doing with their machines. The Venture will measure the mat, then it will start drawing. I'll play it in real time here so you can see how quickly the Cricut Venture draws. I sped this part up. I am always amazed when the Cricut machine draws. It's just such a fun thing, and I forget about this feature a lot. My son came in and was just in awe of it too, so I kept a little clip in there.
Are you going to make it so it cuts the trees out?
No, it's actually, I'm using it for wrapping paper. Now it's done and I can remove it from the machine. Let's see how this works as wrapping paper. I grabbed something that I'm giving my 3-year-old for Christmas and I'm going to try wrapping it. How cool is this? And you can really personalize it however you want to. You can even have the Cricut draw names or whatever that person you're gifting is into. I just love how this turned out. It would have been cool to have something else drawn in between the trees, I was thinking after looking at this, but still just so cool. My hope is to do a second Cricut gift idea video, and I might try to do something with ribbon to add to this. I'm hoping I can get that video out within the next couple weeks. Here's another look at all the gift ideas. If you watched this whole thing, I always love doing this every year, but put a Christmas emoji in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I would also love it if you subscribed if you are new to my channel, and keep watching for more fun videos coming up this holiday season.